Alright, so what we need to do is we need to go and add in our sprites here. Now, as you can see here, we have a layer here, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add in the sprite here. And this game here, I'm going to make kind of like a neon color here. So we'll go with kind of a neon pink to start off with, okay? And this is going to be, just our first sprite here. And you see here that this is on layer 0. Okay, we can call this, and if we push F2, we can call this main layer. And if I go and I uncheck this, you can see it disappears. And what that means is that you can't see that layer. So if you need different layers, for example, your heads-up display or like displaying your score or something like that, you can put them on different layers, and it's highly recommended that you do that here. Another thing we need to do is you need to take a look at this here. It says Sprite 2, and if I uncheck the background here, it says Sprite, just simply Sprite. Well, let's go ahead and let's change this to background. Okay, background like that. And that way we know what that is here. And if we look at the projects here, we can see the object types, you got background, and we have a Sprite 2 here. Now, let's take a look at what we're actually going to be trying to do. We are going to be trying to simply drag objects into a box here. Okay, and I should also point out at this point in time that the aesthetic is going to be somewhat of a neon color, and the black background contrasts the light neon colors quite well. Usually dark colors contrast light colors and vice versa. Now with games, if you're an artist or you're a graphic artist, what can happen is that in art, like if you were to go, let's say, paint a painting or do something in Photoshop or Adobe Illustrator, you tend to have a lot of variety and a lot of contrast in between the lightest and the darkest. Usually with games, there's less contrast. Okay. However, this is going to be an exception where we have the most contrast. But if you're making a game, kind of like Super Mario Brothers, the contrast between light and dark isn't that much as you would normally see in art. All right. So now that we have this here, we're going to go and we have to do a couple things here. Let's just add in a bunch of these objects here. Now, what I'm going to do first of all is I'm going to say the size is 200 and then 200, and that will make the size down here. But if you want to change the size of the actual sprite, you have to double click and click on this arrow here and make it 200 by 200 like that. Okay, and I think this is going to be a better size. Okay, and for the most part, what we're going to do is we're just going to simply add in a bunch of these. But before we do that, we're going to go ahead and we're going to call this pink block. Okay, and what we need to do is just a little bit more planning as to what we're going to do specifically. And I'm going to show you a very good technique to make sure that you don't waste time when you're making apps, games, etc. I'll see you in the next tutorial.